Ron and Ann Mainse are beloved members of the 100 Huntley Street family, hosts of the incredible television show A Better Us, and passionate encouragers for couples across Canada. They are here to talk about their brand new devotional book for couples called Come Closer, 31 Days to Strengthen Your Marriage and Your Walk with God. Ron and Ann, welcome to 100 Huntley Street.
Thank you.
Great to be here with you again.
Oh, we are so glad to have you with us. And I know so many of our viewers are just overjoyed at seeing you. Well, Come Closer is an incredible devotional, 31 days that you can journey through with your husband or wife. I'm so eager to journey through this book with my husband, Jeff. Tell us why you wrote this book right now. What was on your heart? What was your hope?
Well, the real premise for it is coming closer, has the dual meaning, coming closer, yes, as a couple, but more importantly to God, because closer to God equals closer to each other. And that's something we emphasize on our Better Us TV program often, and how important it is to be spiritually connected as well. And that kind of intimacy is so vital. And so this is kind of a tool to help couples find those points of connection, because so often in the busyness, we can drift apart, right, hon?
You know what? Couples of all ages really struggle with drift in their marriages. I mean, you can have small children in your home, or you can have teenagers, or you can be empty nesters like we are, and life can get so busy and so stressful that before you know it, you're just roommates doing life together instead of being the close, intimate partners that God created you to be. So we wrote this book to create this quiet time for couples to set aside where it's just the two of them, and they humble themselves before God and say, God, what do you want to teach us today? It's a short read every day, and we end it with a reflection and a prayer starter. And we really try to help on a silver platter, hand it to couples. This is a good way to start your day, and you will definitely come closer to each other. But like Ron said, more importantly, come closer to God.
And it doesn't matter how long you've been married. Even this morning, driving into the studio, we were driving in, and then Ann said, honey, you know what, I feel like we've been a little disconnected over the last few days. And things have been busy, there's been stresses on different things, and she said, you know, and I know for me, as a guy, as guys tend to be, when we get stressed and we get, you know, kind of really busy, we tend to just kind of be inward and quiet and just kind of settle into ourselves and not really wanting to talk a lot, whereas...
But for women, like me, when and I don't know if you're like this, Laura, but when I get stressed, I need to talk about it. I need to get close to him and say, okay, this is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm thinking. This is what happened in my life. What do you think? And so when he's stressed, he's going inward. When I'm stressed, I need to go outward. And that creates a real disconnect with couples. And so to have the grace to give each other and say, you know what? I am a little needy right now. I realize that. And I know that you need to have some quiet time. So can we set aside some time, maybe tomorrow morning over coffee, where we just talk, where maybe we take a devotional book and there's a scripture that starts it. And then we just read the story. It's a very short story, and just talk about how this topic relates to our marriage and just reconnect as a couple. And so that's our hope and prayer for this book.
Yeah. And I'm so excited, about this book. I mean, all of the topics throughout it, whether it's couples struggling with anxiety or feeling the drift, or how do they foster a stronger love connection, or what's it like to parent in different seasons. I mean, you've covered all of that through the stories. I love that there's a section where you can write notes at the end of every chapter, because I think just what you're saying, and people are reflecting and saying, okay, this is where we are today. This is what we just talked about. And I'm thinking too, you reuse this devotional over and over again, and the reflections get deeper and deeper because you guys grow closer together.
Exactly. That's why we put the notes section in there, because I don't know if you're like me, but I put dates on my notes too. My Bible is filled with, okay, this is for my daughter. No, my kids are all older now, much older than your kids, but 1997, this is for my daughter and what she's going through right now. And then I look back, almost 30 years later and say, oh God, you answered that prayer. So the notes in the book also provide an opportunity to say, oh God, look at where we were and look at how far you've brought us as a couple.
Oh, I love that so much. And you see God's faithfulness. I mean, I love some of the chapters in your book. We're gonna dive into these. Okay. So one is a really neat one called Peace in the Panic. And this is a part of your story that literally began your married life. I know this story well. I've seen actually the video.
Yes, you have.
Okay, so tell us about how we can have peace in the panic. Tell us your story.
The panic is a good way to put it, because we're talking about not just the beginning of our marriage, but our wedding day. Something happened during our wedding.
Yeah, we learned things about each other as a result of that, but we also we were at the point of, at least Ann more, on the point of panic, because something happened. We won't give it away, but something happened.
The whole story's in the book. If you get the book, you'll see
during
it.
the wedding ceremony that, as Ann started especially thinking, they're going to stop the wedding.
This wedding they're going to stop our wedding. I know they are. And to really then focus back on, okay, what's really important? This wedding, yes, God, please let it continue. But really, my focus has to be on God. And do I trust Him? Is He going to hold me when panic happens? Because it doesn't just happen, in seasons. It happens throughout your whole life. There are moments when you live through events that cause you to panic. And you have to be able to say, God, where is my focus? Okay, my focus is back on you. My focus is back. It's not on what's happening around me. It's on you.
And one of the things that helped us get that focus back was an impromptu singing of a chorus, a worship chorus in the middle, because while this panic and things were happening during the ceremony that you'll find out, the minister started just leading, wasn't planned, a chorus of I love you, Lord, and I lift my voice. And then the whole congregation started singing, and that kind of focused things back while they were kind of taking care of what was happening in the ceremony.
In our marriages, Lara, it's so easy to get our eyes on the panic, on the financial stresses, on the job insecurity, on the teenage kids we're raising, even the adult kids we have raised. There's so many opportunities to kind of get our eyes on the panic. But if we keep our eyes on the Prince of Peace, on Jesus, He will give us that peace that will get us through the panic. And we will be able to look back on it and say, you know what, God, you were there every step of the way. And you orchestrated events for your purposes, because we trust you and we know that you have our best in mind.
Doing that as a couple is completely life-changing for a marriage. And I love the idea of it. I understand it. I understand the difference when you don't focus on Jesus, when there are trials as a married couple. You've got another wonderful devotional entry in the book called The Mouse. And it talks about like the small things that, we let go. They can become all kinds of things. So talk to us a bit more about that.
Okay, so I mean, a lot of the stories of the days in the 31-day devotional are personal stories. And this is actually a personal story of mine where I'm embarrassed to say we caught a mouse in a mousetrap. Okay, but it only caught by one leg, so it was alive and well.
And it was in the bottom of the oven, that drawer in the bottom of an oven.
And so I was working at home by myself. The kids were at school, Ron was at work, and I was in the home office working. And he was just flapping around, and he would not. And so I knew Ron wouldn't be home till lunchtime. And so instead of ignoring him, I kind of started feeling sorry for the little guy. And Laura,
not only that, Laura, Ann started feeding this mouse because she opened the drawer and these little beady eyes looked up at her and she's thinking, oh, poor little Mickey.
So I had a muffin there on the counter. I just started giving him little pieces and he loved it, and so we kind of developed this little relationship. So Ron actually let him go when he didn't, do anything else to him. But that made us start thinking about our lives. And how many things in our lives we would say, oh, that has no place in our home. Right. That mouse, whatever that mouse is, has no place in our home. But then
we start feeding those things we know should not have a place in our home.
I start thinking to myself, you know what, it's okay. It doesn't matter. If I maybe, we've had experience with a gentleman reaching out to us, his wife reached out to an old high school flame on Facebook.
Right, okay.
And before she knew it, they were having an affair and he left her and their small child. And it's just one of those little mouse instances where she says, oh, it won't hurt. It won't hurt. I'll just do this. I'll just feed it this way. And before you know it, it takes you in a totally different direction. So there's lots of things like that in our lives we need to watch out for. Just be careful and really stand guard for our marriages.
And know that God calls us away from these things because He loves us. Sometimes we feel His judgment or we feel He's restricting us. No, He's protecting us when He says, don't let that mouse fester into something that is very dangerous, actually. You talk a lot in the book about the atmosphere of your home. Tell us more about how we can set the atmosphere atmosphere of our home, what that means.
That is so important.
Well, one of the scriptures from Ephesians, and a translation puts it, guard the atmosphere, may it be thick with love, it says, thick with love. And so it makes you think, okay, what is thick in the atmosphere of our homes?
Mm-hmm. And actually, I grew up in a home when I was a little girl where the atmosphere in our home was thick with tension and stress and dominance, and not in a healthy way. And so I know the impact that can have on a child. And so when we read this scripture verse, we thought, Lord, may our home be thick with grace, with mercy. May our home be a safe place for our kids to come when they're having a bad day, to let it all out, no judgment. When sometimes our kids, their emotions go through the roof.
Yeah.
But it's in those times we have to keep our emotions capped and say, okay, let it go. I know you've got some things going on. This is thick with love. Let me blanket you with love right now. And we do that with our spouse too, that they can have a bad day, but we need to let them know that you're safe with me.
And it's really a reflection of the heart of Jesus. When we spend time with him, as we say, time with God equals closer together, closer to God. And so, so when we have that attitude and we have that relationship with Jesus, that he just overflows into love in the home and that thickness of love in the atmosphere. And so that's why it's so important that couples, individually spend time with God, but also take time together to have that time to help in that whole atmosphere.
Well, it's interesting. If you've experienced a home with an atmosphere where the love of God is not present, and the difference where the love of God is present. And so that's why going through a devotional like this, when you start to experience this different shift in atmosphere in your home, you really know. You're like, oh, this is different. As a couple practices the presence of God's love together through doing something like this. In the book, throughout many different entries, you reference that there is a spiritual dynamic to a lot of the challenges and tensions happening in marriages. In fact, some spiritual warfare going on. Can you talk to our viewers about that? That's a very important piece of truth.
It is a big one, because a lot of times we think about marriage and issues and trying to deal together. We kind of do it all on kind of the human level and maybe the psychological level. But we need to realize there's a battle going on for your marriage. It's a spiritual battle. There's an enemy that wants to steal, kill, and destroy not only our lives, but our relationships, our marriages, our families. And so by understanding that, like John 10:10, Jesus said that the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And that's the thief's job, and he's pretty good at his mission statement, that thief, the enemy, Satan. So there's spiritual battles going on, but I love how Jesus continues that same verse to say, but I have come that you might have life, full and abundant life. And Jesus is pretty good at his mission statement too, when we allow him.
Absolutely. And we have to be proactive in our marriages to counter the attacks of the enemy in our lives and do things together with purpose to say, okay, we are not going to let the enemy drive us apart. We are not going to have a spirit of divisiveness in our family, in our marriage. We are going to be unified. We are going to focus on God and focus on each other and build our us as strong as it can be.
Well, you're noting the word intentionality. You've got to be intentional. Something that you guys have done in your ministry you've been intentional about carving out space for couples to be together. And one of those ways that you do that is you do these cruises where you're really helping couples reconnect, deepen their relationship, and even renew their vows. Tell us about the Caribbean cruises. And I know they're a big hit.
Yeah, we absolutely love doing this because we get a lot of one-on-one time with couples as well on the cruise. But we invite couples to come with us. We spend a week with them and on a beautiful cruise ship, getting away from the stresses of life, away from the pressures, and we allow them to enjoy the ship, of course, but we also have some marriage enrichment times with them. And then, of course, our favorite part is the very last night.
Yeah, well, we could do a vow renewal. We actually, the couple say, you know what, we've been married, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, 50 years, with couples that have been over 50 years and they want to do this vow renewal because they've never done something like that. They thought it would be neat. And it's just a recommitting of yourselves to God first and to each other. And it's a beautiful thing. And couples will be crying and they'll be loving this.
Ron officiates because he is an ordained minister. He officiates. We give each couple a certificate that they can sign, that Ron has already signed, a vow renewal time and the date. night. And it's just, we had one bride who'd only been married like 5 years. She brought her wedding dress with her on the cruise to wear that night on the vow renewal. It was so special for them.
Oh, that is so special. That's just beautiful. I know Jeff and I have wanted to go, so we'll keep looking for opportunities. Yeah, that would be good.
Well, next January.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Is that the next one? Okay, good. And if people want more information, where can they go?
Just at abetterus.tv.
Okay.
And they click on just events, and then they'll see the 2026 Couples Caribbean Cruise right there.
Perfect.
You know how cold it gets in January, so why don't you join us on a cruise ship in January?
And, of course, for some cruise ship reading, you can get the Come Closer devotional, but you can also get at the website there and spend time with your spouse reading some of this. Okay, well, listen, marriages across Canada, we know many are challenged and struggling. We know that if you're married long enough, you're going to face a challenge. That's the reality. And we see these divorce rates at 50%, and many people watching right now are concerned maybe about their own marriages, the state of life for them. What would you say to them to bring them hope in this moment for themselves or even their loved ones who are experiencing a broken marriage?
Well, one of the things that just came to my mind on the last cruise that we were on, so we were taking some time away. We went to a beach in the port, and we were out on these floaties, the two of us. And so we were just kind of floating around and just relaxing. And then all of a sudden I looked over, and Ann is way over there. Like, how did you drift that far apart in just a short time? We were just kind of relaxed. And then we got together. I paddled back over.
To work hard to get closer to each other against the current.
And then I basically, grabbed her hand. I said, okay, we need to stay connected here, or else we're going to be way apart again. And so when you think about that, we need to stay connected, to each other. And this is a tool, the book, to stay like that. But it's also the importance of being connected to God, because there's always hope. We always say at the end of every A Better Us program that with God there is always hope to become a better us. And so with that focus in mind, we don't want anyone to ever give up on the idea of
And I just want to encourage you individually to renew your relationship with God first. Humble yourself before Him as an individual, and then come together with your spouse as a couple, humble before Him. And you will find so much more strength and power in your lives and in your marriage than you could imagine, because God is at the center.
Amen. Oh, Ann, Ron, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for that word of encouragement for those watching across the nation. Your new book, Come Closer, I know it is going to be a life-giving resource, and we're going to see a lot of marriages transformed. I believe that. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Lara.